And I know you want to be a big part of that. And so maybe we can talk a little bit about Hashgraph, Hedera, and what I guess is this layer one solution. And I'll probably ask you the question you get from a lot of people which is, what makes your layer one different than other layer ones? You are clearly in the running. I've been lucky enough to have other conversations with accomplished computer scientists like you, like Dr. Silvio Macali. I've spoken to the guys at AVAX. I spoke with some brilliant people that are out there really maybe doing God's work to a certain extent, because my side job is I teach in my DeFi Academy, and I've got hundreds of students from around the world. And Mance, the biggest complaint is the gas fees. They complain all day, every day about the gas they have to pay, because I get them to use Ethereum chain for all the DeFi protocols because they're learning for the first time. And they're all saying, Brian, when will this stop? And I say, it's going to stop when these layer ones come into fruition, probably, and give us these new options. So based on that, maybe your comments, and tell us a little bit about what Hedera Hashgraph is.
Sure. Well, so I think there are two parts to the equation in being successful as a layer one. One certainly is the technology. You have to have rock solid technology. And Lehman Baird, my co-founder, invented something called Hashgraph back in 2015 that really was a fundamental advance in computer science in the field of distributed consensus, that gave us this piece of technology, this consensus algorithm that is the foundational building block for everything, that has fantastic properties in terms of security and performance, fundamentally solving some problems. And then in addition to the tech, maybe equally important, in some cases maybe more important, is the governance of what is a global piece of infrastructure, a global network. And when we think about adoption and companies and businesses that are making decisions about which piece of infrastructure they're going to build their solution, their application on top of, because they're making a bet, right? When you choose a platform like that and you're getting ready to spend millions of dollars to build out a product, you want to know that you're building on top of a platform that is solid in terms of the technology, but also is going to be well managed, well run, and it's going to last for 100 years. That's been the goal, is to create a piece of infrastructure that's going to be around for generations to come, that the Web 3.0 economy gets built on top of. And so governance is equally important. When it comes to the governance portion of Hedera, we are unique in the industry. I actually read a book back in roughly 2015, 2016 timeframe, written by a gentleman named D. Hock. D. Hock was the founder of the Visa network. He's still with us. I had the great pleasure of speaking with him a couple of years ago, but back in the 60s, he was the founder of Visa, back when it was called Bank Americard, before it was called Visa. And he wrote a book about that experience and about the governance model that they created for creating what we know as Visa today. I marked up the book and I applied it here to our particular context. And what it led us to is a governing body that ultimately will be 39 strong. We have 25 governing council members today. They represent the biggest, largest companies and most prestigious universities in the world. They are intentionally chosen to be cross-industry. So it's not a bunch of banks or a bunch of tech giants or any one single industry. We've intentionally invited members that range the full range of global use cases by industry, if you will. They're also geo-distributed. They represent the entire global market. And finally, they're term limited. They can only stay council members for a maximum of 6 years, 2 3-year terms. And this collection, there are 25 of them today that have been announced. We're growing to 39. They include members like Google and IBM and FIS WorldPay and global law firms, DLA Piper and Denton's, banks, Nomura, out of Tokyo, and Standard Bank out of South Africa, the largest bank in Africa, and Shinhan out of South Korea, retail and Magazine Luiza out of Brazil. They sort of think of them as Amazon for Brazil, and on and on and on. There are 25 of them. Deutsche Telekom and is another example. And they govern. They govern through committees. There is a technical standards committee, a technical steering committee that manages the roadmap for this global infrastructure. And there's a legal and regulatory committee that manages the regulatory stance and posture and strategy for the organization, and treasury management, and on and on and on. And so there's nothing else like this in the industry. We've, instead of having an advisory board, we said, let's just bring in the customers themselves and let them govern. And that's the other half of the equation. So we've got fantastic tech in Hashgraph with performance and security. And then we got fantastic world-class governance in the council. And the two pieces together provide an exceptional value, a set of value points to the market. And I think that's why we're doing so well.